All right, so what we're going to do is make the animation I was showing you in the previous video. But in this case, first thing you're going to need is audio clips. So that could be any number of things. So if you just go to YouTube, I don't care how you get your audio clip. An MP3 works well. You could also do a WAV or probably a .aiff or whatever the Mac equivalent of a WAV is. All those should work fine. If you want to get something from the internet, you could just do if you just type in YouTube to MP3 converter, and then you'll find all sorts of uh, little web things that you can drop your. Basically, what you do is you find on YouTube the video you want, like a music video, obviously, because this would be for audio. You find that audio, and then you give them the URL of the where you find it, and then it will convert it to a downloadable MP3. But I don't know if that's legal, so I'm just saying it's something you could do, but don't do that because that's illegal. But you could do that if you were going to do illegal things. What I did is I went to Incompetech. Basically, it's this guy. He's a composer, and he does a lot of royalty-free music. So you click on here, and then he has a lot of it. I mean, he probably has thousands of songs, and you click on them, and then luckily enough, okay, so you could be like, oh, I like that one. Click on it, be like, oh, I like this one. Let me close that one back up. Okay, so there's all sorts of them here, and then if you go to royalty-free music, let me see, lightning search catalog ordered by title. Lightning. Oh, this is the fast way. But he has ways of them being organized. So let's do. So, but you can see this dude's got just a ton of songs, right? And these are all royalty free, so you're allowed to use them legally or whatever. You'll actually see quite a bit of his work in YouTube videos because people will use them as background soundtracks for various things. Okay, so that's just incompetech.com. That's, you can see it right here. Well, if it didn't have this thing up here, but yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm using. I just grabbed one from here and I downloaded it and I put it in there. Which one was it that I used? I don't even remember. But anyway, that's what I did. So you click on it, you download it, and then you want to go to Adobe Animate. So in Adobe Animate, I'm just going to do File. We'll just do New. And it's going to give you all these options. So what we want to do is go ahead and just do character animation. We'll do the HD 1280 by 720. It's fine. That's good. I'm actually going to up the frame rate. So I'm not usually a huge fan of doing this, but the reason why is because that way there's more fidelity of trying to time out my animation because I'm trying to match audio. Just imagine that basically if there's only 12 frames per second, it's less resolution in order to hit it on the music, right? So the music might be a little bit earlier than the 12th frame, but like a little bit late than the 11th frame, and so it's not quite syncing up. So I'm actually going to do 24 frames per second. You could also do 30 frames per second, but in this case, we're actually going to go a little bit higher than our usual 12, which is typically what I work in. So we're going to do 24 for me. You could do 30 if you want. So we'll just create. All right, good. First thing I need to do is bring in that audio. So I'm just going to go to, I'm just going to bring this back here. Okay, so if you do Control and scroll wheel, so we're going to do File, Import, and we'll just import right to the stage. And then I'm going to go to my downloads, and I guess it was this Canon in D for 8-bit synths. That was the one I downloaded for, so we'll hit Open. And you're going to see a little WAV file will show up here. I'm going to rename this layer, and I'm going to put the audio on its own layer. That way I can kind of keep it open. You'll see that you can actually put animation stuff on it, but that's not a good way of working. It's best just to keep it separate, and that way it's, good to go. All right. I need this to be extended for the entirety of the, for how long the audio is. So I'm going to back this up a little bit. That's as far back as it gets. And, I'll just show you what I did. So I was like, oh, let's try 5 seconds. So I just click to here. I hit F5, or you can right click and go insert frame. And then you can see you can actually scrub it. Right? And then I'll just hit play. Also, just be aware when you make this, it's very important, crucial even, that you make sure you're using ActionScript and not HTML5 Canvas. The reason being is that when you do HTML5 Canvas, you can bring audio in, but you can't do this. You can't scrub it. It will not play. So this is particularly useful when you're trying to do character animation stuff. I don't know why they don't have it as a possibility, but they just don't. Anyway, so we'll hit play. So you can see that's not all that I need. I don't know why there's an extra keyframe right here. I'm just going to get rid of that. So I'm just going to remove frame. There you go. I just wanted it extended. Okay. So I'm like, oh, that's not enough. So then I tried like 10 seconds. And I hit F5. So I didn't quite do it. And then I just ended up, like, I just went to 15 seconds. I don't even know if that's 100% right. But it's good enough for me. So what you're going to want to do is find an appropriate amount that makes sense to kind of cut off. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but you get the idea. So that's basically where it ends off. And you can slide this if for some reason you need the audio to start at a different spot. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Did that? Oh, I thought hang on a second. Let's try that again. It's not moving. Hang on, not that. Well, maybe cut it in a different piece, at a different app. Okay, so we have the audio there. You get the idea. Okay. So what I wanted to be able to do, though, is be able to see this. So if I double click on it, it doesn't, you can see it's really small. I can't actually see the waveform very well. And if I double click on it, it doesn't do anything because there's no animation on it. So what we can do, though, is I'm going to double click on this. And you can see down here, we can change the layer height. I'm going to make it 300%. And then we'll hit OK. Now I can kind of see that waveform. And if you look, see the little tick here? There's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. I can kind of actually see it. Now, it'll be more obvious depending on the music. Some music will have really obvious, like, do, do, do. And you'll be able to see it really, really well. This one almost has just little pauses between every note. And so that's the way I can see it. But you might not be able to see it at all. And if you can't, you can just click and kind of scrub. That's an option. Or just hit play and just see where it is. Okay. So if you saw mine before, what I'm gonna have happen is I'm gonna have a little ball just kind of come down for each note. Okay. Now to do that, actually I want to change my background. So I'm gonna click on the background here, and I'm gonna take my stage, and I'm just gonna make it black because I think it just looks cooler that way. So if you look, it goes to just before 1 second. So see, there's 1 second right here, and you see that's right where the note starts. Now here's the thing: when you do audio, I do not want to put it on where it starts. I know that seems counterintuitive. You actually want to put it before. It has to hit before the actual thing, the actual sound. The animation actually has to lead it by 1 or 2 frames at least, depending on what your frame rate is. Okay, so I'm actually need it to go to basically, let's say, to 22. We'll say is where I'm going to have it go to. So from 1, or is that 0? Yeah, 1 to 22. That's where I want my animation to be. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is make a new layer, and we'll just call this note, because it's just gonna be 1 note coming down. And I'm just gonna do a circle for now, but obviously you could do something a bit more complicated. So I'm just gonna do an oval, and I'm just gonna do a green circle. I'm just gonna hold shift, and we'll just say that size is fine. Okay, so you'll notice that with mine, the way that I had it is that there is well, you can't see it because it's not previewing now. Basically, every note is exactly the same. It comes down and it animates like a little water drop, right? So it would make more sense is to animate one of these as a symbol, and then just use that over and over again for each note. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, that's what I'm basically gonna do. So we're gonna have this go to, we'll say 22, right? So from here, I'm just gonna click and drag all the way to the end. Okay, and I'm just going to remove all those frames. Remove frames. And so now it goes till 21. We want to go to 22, so I'm just going to hit 5 to extend it. Okay, so now it goes from 1 to here, and then the next one will happen after that, right? So you can see it feels timed correctly. Okay, so I'm just going to animate this basically kind of coming down, and I'm just going to do 1 note, and after I'm done with that 1 note, I'm going to use it for all the other ones. Okay, so we're going to take this, and I'm just going to go ahead and make this into a symbol. So in order to animate this as a motion tween, I need to do that. So we're going to go to modify, convert to symbol, and we'll just put note underscore MC. All right, so that's one note, and then I'm going to take this, I'm going to convert this to a motion tween. Okay, and all we're going to do is have this just move down a certain amount. So I don't really have a certain amount that I want to do. I'm just going to hold shift and drag it down a little bit. We'll just say that much. Oops, got to make sure on the last frame. Okay, try that again. We'll say about that much. Okay. And maybe a little bit more. Feels a little bit not enough. Okay. Okay, so that's something. Now what I want to do is I'd like it to start fast and get slow. So I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to go to the Y because it's the up and down, not the X. The X, you can see, doesn't move because it doesn't move this way. It only moves up and down. So I'm going to go to my Y. I'm going to click on this first. Then I'm going to hold Alt or Option if you're on a Mac and click and drag. Oops, so that it eases. And now, so you can see it kind of starts out fast and then slowly gets to here. Okay, that's what I want. I'm going to double click on this back. Okay, so we have it moving down. You might have noticed I had some other stuff happening with it. For one, I'd like it to get bigger, and then I'd like to get small and then bigger. I think that would look kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is grab it here. I'm going to hit Q, and I'm just going to Control plus so I get a little closer. And I'm just going to hold Shift, and we'll just have it get, we'll say that small. And then we'll have it get big, let's say here. And I'm going to hold Shift and have it get big. And then at the end, I'm going to have it get small again. Like that. So it's, I don't like how small it gets, actually. Let's have it get a little bit smaller. I'm going to do one shot back. Here we go. Let's try that. Okay, that looks a little better. Okay, so we're going to start like that. So you notice I had it do that. The other thing I had to do is I had it fade in and out. So to do that, that's actually going to be an effect that I'm going to just apply to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to click here on the frame itself, right? So on frame 1. Then I'm going to go to Object, and then scroll down, and you'll see color effects. Yeah, color effects. And what I want to do is I'm going to do alpha. And what we're going to do is we're going to take it, and we'll say at 25%. That's actually fine because I want to see it a little. So it kind of pops in. I'm going to have it here. I'm going to, again, click on that frame, click on Object, and now I'm going to put it at 100%. And then right here, we'll fade it back out. I got to click on that frame again, go to the Object, and here, let's just do back to 25%. So it'll, okay. All right, so now we have one note going down, and it's approximately the right amount of time. Okay. So what I want to do, though, is I want to make this multiple ones. So you could do this. I could take this and duplicate the layer and then take this whole bit, shift it over, right? So it's the next one. Oh, and then in general, grab this whole thing, move that over and down, okay? But that's not really a good way of doing it because I'm still manually making it and they're not really tied to each other, and it's going to be a little bit cumbersome. So instead what we're going to do is I am going to turn this whole thing here into a symbol itself. So right now that object is a symbol. I'm going to take this layer and make that a symbol. So I'm just going to right click and we're just going to go to convert layers to symbol. And then we'll just call this note playing underscore MC. Okay. And now you're not going to see it. So it won't preview, but if I hit Control Enter, you could see it. Okay. All right. So now we have a single note playing right there that's going down. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to duplicate that for each one of these. So what we can do is this. Actually, so I need to place these all. Now, I had already done this earlier and I just counted. I hit play and I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I counted how many notes there were. There were 8. And since I wanted this to go around, there needs to be 8 of them going across. So what I'm going to do is actually use my rulers and basically draw some guidelines for me. So we're going to go to view. I'm going to turn rulers on, and then I can drag these across. So we are doing, what is it? 720 by 1280, right? So half of 1280 would be 640. So right at 640 is my halfway mark. So what you do is you click over here. I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to go to basically 640, which is right there. So that's the halfway mark, okay? Now what I'm going to do is do that again. Click, and I'm going to cut this in half. So 640 divided by 2 would be 320. So 320 plus 640 would be 960. So we're going to go to 960, which is right there. I was already in the right spot. And then, what did I say it was? It was 640, so it'll be 230. No, 320, sorry. 320, so it'll be right there. Okay? And so now I have it in 4 sections. I need to make 8. So I just got to cut these in half. So what I have, 320 divided by be 150 plus 10. So 160, is that right? Right there? That looks a little bit, I don't know. I'm just going to eyeball it at this point. Because I feel like I can eyeball it just as well as doing math. Because I don't think anybody wants to do math. Okay, so now I've got these, and this first one feels a little bit fat, but I don't think they're exactly 100%, but it's close enough. Okay, so now I got to divide it that way, so I can put that one in the center of each one of these. There's 8, right? And I need to do each one that way, so that looks fine. Now what we're going to do is they also are going to be going different distances. So it's bump, 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 but the last 2 go up, which means that basically it's 6. I need this divided among 6. So we're doing 720 divided by 2. 720 divided by 2, so it'd be 350 plus, so 360. So we're going to go 360, which is roughly right there. And then half of that, and I don't feel like doing more math. Oh, wait, you know what? That doesn't work because I got to do this in thirds. We're just going to guesstimate, and we'll just move them afterwards. So we'll say this has got to go this way a little bit, and that was close enough. And I'm just going to click, drag down. It's going to do halves again, but you can't actually do that because it's not exactly accurate. Up there, that's too much. Close enough. Okay, so now I have, this isn't 100%, but now I have my guides more or less. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the regular select, and this guy's got to go right in the center of this because that's the first slot, okay? Now the next note, I'm just going to go here, and I'm going to hit F6, okay? So that's basically just going to duplicate the previous one, and this one needs to go from here to, so it was 22, right? So we are on line 23 plus 22 would be 45. So we got to go to here. I'm going to hit F5. Okay. Okay. And I need to move this guy down to here in the center of this one. So this one, then this one. Then we need to do F6 again. And you know what? That looks a little bit off. It looks late. So I'm just going to move this one over a little bit. I'm just going to eyeball it. And then we'll go to here. We'll say there. I'm going to hit F5 to extend that one there. And then this guy's got to go here. Okay. Then we'll just do F6 to duplicate it again. And it's got to go to about, we'll say, here. So notice I'm leading it a little bit. Because that's the actual, yeah, let's go 2 frames earlier, F5. And this one's got to go here. Then we'll just hit F6 here. All right, and then that's got to go to about here, we'll say, F5. And this one's got to go here. Good. F6. And this one's got to go to, we'll say, here. F5. And that one's got to go down. And then we'll do F6 again. And again, we're going to go to, we'll say there, F5. This one's got to go here, because it's going to go up. And we're going to do something a little bit different with this in a second. And we'll do F6. And then that's got to go to, we'll say here, F5. And that one's going to go here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit Command Enter or Control Enter, depending on what. Okay. All right, I'm going to preview that again because I think that the animation might be. Okay. There's a weird hiccup happening in the back here. Not sure what's going on. It might be that they are a little bit too long. So we might need to move these back a little bit. So let me just see if the timing's right, actually. Okay. So I'm just going to ignore that for now. But the back ones, they're supposed to go up. So that's pretty easy. I'm actually going to grab it. I'm going to hit Q. And I'm just going to rotate this. Oops. Let me get closer here. I'm going to take the pivot here. Put that up here. And I'm just going to rotate this 180 degrees. So let me see. 3D positioning, object. Where's the rotate? 3D positioning view. That's not what I was looking for. Okay, I guess we just got to manually do it. So I'm just going to hold Shift as I do it. And just rotate it so it's pointing upwards. And do the same thing to this one. Move the pivot up here. Okay, and then I'm just going to hold Shift. Good. Okay. And now if we hit Control Enter, those last two should go up instead. Okay. Just want to check something real quick. All right, so we have basically the beginning of our thing. It's somewhat timed out. You can kind of see it's going across. We use those same notes go down, and then we just went up. All right, I'm going to end the video here. On the next one, we're going to clean up some stuff. I'll show you how to change the audio or the coloring as well.